Are you drinking enough water? It sounds like such a simple question, right? But what if I told you that even if you're hitting your daily goal, you could still be dehydrated? Yeah, we're about to dive into some surprising science that might just change how you think about hydration forever.
Okay, let's kick things off with a number that should really grab your attention: 75%. According to one survey, that's how many adults could be walking around in a state of chronic dehydration. We're talking about things like fatigue, headaches, maybe even that fuzzy thinking becoming a daily reality for a massive number of us.
So the big question is, could you be one of them? Let's take a look at what the actual research tells us.
This brings us to what I call the dehydration dilemma. We all know we're supposed to drink more water, but the real question is how much? And that's where things get, well, a little complicated. I mean, we've had the 8 glasses a day rule drilled into our heads for years. It's super simple, it's memorable, but here's the thing. As folks at the Mayo Clinic and other researchers point out, it's just not a one-size-fits-all solution. Our needs are way more personal, depending on everything from our health and how active we are to even where we live. So, if the old rule doesn't really work, what does? Well, that very question led some researchers to conduct a pretty fascinating experiment. So, this pilot study in the Journal of Exercise and Nutrition took a closer look. They got 22 women together, and for 5 straight weeks, they tested 2 of the most common ways people try to up their water intake. They split them into 2 groups. Over on the left, you've got Team Bottle. These are the women who use those really popular motivational water bottles, the ones with the time markings. And on the right, you had Team App, who just used a reminder and tracker app on their phones. So, which one do you think worked better? Well, the initial results were pretty much exactly what you'd expect. The reminders, no matter if they came from a bottle or an app, totally worked. And they didn't just work a little bit. On average, the women in both groups increased their daily water intake by a massive 29%. This chart from the study shows you just how big that jump was. You can see the average intake shot up from around 56 ounces a day to over 72 ounces. That's fantastic. It seems like a clear win, right? Case closed. But, and this is a huge but, this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. Because it turns out just drinking more water didn't actually solve the whole problem. I mean, everyone drank more water, so they must have all been perfectly hydrated. Problem solved, right? Well, not exactly. Now this is the twist. Get this. Despite that 29% increase in water, a shocking 41%, almost half of the participants were still clinically dehydrated at the end of the 5 weeks. Let that sink in. They were drinking more, but they weren't actually hydrated. So what on earth was going on? Well, the researchers found a crucial clue. They saw a really significant link between body mass index and hydration. The study specifically noted that the women with a higher BMI were more dehydrated. This suggests our individual body makeup plays a huge role, and a simple reminder just isn't going to cut it. This all points to a much more personal approach. It's time to stop relying on these generic rules and instead learn how to crack your own personal hydration code.
The big takeaway here is that the goal shouldn't be to just robotically drink more water because your phone buzzes. The real goal is to learn how to tune in and understand your body's own unique signals.
And you know what the single best tool for this is? As the study pointed out, it's the Humble Urine Color Chart. Seriously, it's quick, it's free, and it is a remarkably accurate way to check in with yourself throughout the day. The Mayo Clinic backs this up with 2 super simple guidelines. You're probably doing great if you rarely feel thirsty and if your urine is colorless or a light yellow. Just think of those 2 signals, thirst and urine color, as your own personal hydration dashboard. So after all of this, what's the real lesson? It's all about shifting from a generic rule to a personal strategy.
The scientific term for what we're actually aiming for is euhydration. It's a fancy word, but all it means is being in a state of normal, balanced body water content. It's not just about how many ounces you drink. It's about achieving that true fluid balance. That's the real target.
So what's the smarter hydration strategy? Okay, step 1, ditch the generic rules. Step 2, become a pro at self-monitoring, using thirst and urine color. And step 3, aim for that light yellow zone. And get this, the study also showed that when participants hit this sweet spot of true hydration, they actually saw real improvements in their memory and concentration.
It all boils down to this simple but really powerful idea. Stop guessing and start listening to what your body is actually telling you. So you now have the tools to crack your own hydration code. The only question left is, what is your body telling you right now?